video, BC?
They just showed it on SportsCenter. It does look like somebody,
like
filming
up on a hill
through the trees.
Right.
Yeah.
So somebody got tipped that Aaron Donald was working out with the Rams, and here's the key 2-word phrase, in pads.
Mm-hmm.
In pads for the Rams. And remember, they've already traded for Myles Garrett. They already have a loaded defensive line with a lot of great players on it. Braden Fisk, Kobe, Brian Young, all those guys, Kobe Turner. And now they're talking about adding Aaron Donald next to Myles Garrett on a team geeter that is already favored to win the Super Bowl. I'm now at the point where I would be surprised if it doesn't happen, that Aaron Donald doesn't come back. How about you?
I said that to Cappy on Friday because all the tea leaves to me were pointing him to play. We're going to go through all of this and then him decide not to come back. So I would be surprised as well. Listening to Shefty this morning talk about he asked the Rams to get in there, work out. He wants to know what it feels like. Does he still have that burn? Because, John, the one thing that keeps him from not playing at 35 years old, it's not going to be the physical. Always wants to win is the desire there mentally to go back out there and do that. And I don't think, Shefty's mentioned something about 10 to 15 plays. To me, that is not Aaron Donald. I think if he comes back, sure, he can, not play every single play, but he's coming back to play. I don't see a guy like that, like a LeBron, like a Kobe style guy, right? Where you just come back to kind of like, hang out a little bit until it's go time.
All right.
Do you agree with that? Or
what if he's a closer? I think he could be a closer in like third downs, maybe second downs here and there, maybe goal line stands. I think that's the best way to balance him.
Or put him out there on first down and have him dig a hole, and then they're playing from behind the whole time. I just think the possibility of it is really fun.
Yeah.
And really exciting because he's the best Rams defensive lineman ever. And I say that fully realizing we used to have Deacon Jones on the show all the time. We had Merlin Olsen. These guys are first ballot Hall of Fame type dudes. Aaron Donald's better than all of them.
With the first ballot Hall of Famer in Myles Garrett next to him.
Right.
And you have a chance, John, with everything being in L.A. in terms of the Super Bowl, running it back, having one more opportunity, even though he has one. It's hard to pass up. If he wants it, is what I'm saying. He's going to play.
When they had the Von Miller and Aaron Donald run in the Super Bowl, when they won the Super Bowl against the Bengals, you guys remember this? They set the record for the most sacks in a Super Bowl. They sacked Joe Burrow, I think, 10 times.
And
in
for the
a
win.
Super Bowl.
And with the game on the line,
For the win.
Aaron Donald's going to be. That's what the play McVay was mic'd up, and he actually predicted it.
Yep.
He said, all right, here, this is it, guys. This is the game. Aaron Donald's going to make a play. You watch. And Aaron Donald jumped all over Burrow, forced him to throw out, and they got the ball. And that's when Aaron started pointing to his ring finger. I just think it's a real possibility now. No,
I'm with you, John. I would be at this point surprised and bummed a little bit, actually.
Imagine being the other team on offense, trying to figure out how to guard both of them. And then, you have Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk also coming down your throats at the same time.
And those are the guys who would probably benefit the most because they're going to double-team Myles Garrett and they're going to double-team Aaron Donald. So then those other guys got a free run to the quarterback.
Byron Young.
Yeah. So Gilbert Manzano from Sports Illustrated wrote an article this weekend that was interesting, Geeter. He said the Rams are so good on paper that they might flirt with perfection this season, like that one Patriots team that went 17-0. Here's in part what he writes, quote, "There's no noticeable weakness on LA's defense or offense. A high-scoring unit in 25 that punished opponents with MVP Matthew Stafford, dynamic wideouts Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, plus running back Kyron Williams. On paper, this is a near-perfect roster. If you're willing to look past some special teams concerns, at the moment it appears only the Rams can stop themselves from winning the Super Bowl in their backyard," end quote. Do the Rams have to worry about getting too overconfident, or is this something that happens every year with the favorite?
I think it happens in all sports with the favorite, and I think you got to look inside that locker room, look inside the leadership, look inside the veteran presence. And I don't worry about the Rams being too complacent because I think they're more driven than ever, especially how last year ended.
Right. They felt like they should have been in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah. I always say pump the brakes a little bit just in terms of fan expectation and media attention because football is so hard. Everything has to break your way. And if you just take a look at their schedule, with the Niners twice, Seattle twice, at Denver, at Philly. You got Buffalo coming
aren't
here.
Both of the
Chiefs.
Seattle games late in the season?
Yep.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
And, you're on the road at Denver. You got Buffalo at home. You
I think
got
like 6
Kansas
primetime
City.
games.
Yes, and you're traveling to Australia. You got to stay healthy. All those things. But I'll say this about expectations, guys. I've been on both sides of it, and I feel like I've always told my kids in sports, I've always told teams that I've been on or coached, like, I love the expectation as a fan or a player or a coach because it means you're something. And it means that your team is built a certain way where the expectation is to win. Yes, pressure comes with that. And yes, you can get complacent, but you want that because it means you have a team that can actually win. Now, flying under the radar is cool too, John. It's a little less pressure. And if you overachieve, you get paid and you get called a great coach and you get called a great team and everyone's happy. But, John, there's no better expectation than winning because that means you have a chance.
All right. So the other thing I was going to ask you about the Rams is one, and I'm going to bring Emily in on this. For people who don't know, Emily produces all of our Rams coverage during the season. So she's at every game 3 hours before it and 2 hours after it. It's like the longest day of her week. The one place I'm surprised that they haven't have a veteran presence is backup QB if Stafford goes down. I know they're very high on Ty Simpson. They may have to throw him into the fire. But I read over the weekend that Derek Carr, the old Raider quarterback who was an MVP candidate a few years ago and then retired because of injury, is feeling better and thinking about making a comeback. Wouldn't that be a smarter move to have a guy like Derek Carr backing up Stafford than, let's say, Stetson Bennett or Jimmy? They've sailed on Jimmy G, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. They wanted to keep it open. They wanted to keep the line open, but I feel like it would have happened by now if it was going to happen at all. They definitely want whomever it's going to be there for training camp because that's the most important part is teaching these guys so that Matthew Stafford doesn't have to how to be a professional. But I think I could see Derek Carr. I would rather be Derek Carr coming into a game than Ty Simpson or Stetson Bennett. Like if it was Week 5, Matthew got a concussion. He can't play the rest of that game. I'd rather be Derek Carr than any of those guys. So they should value this because Week 5 could be the difference between the number 1 seed or the number 6 seed.
And if Mason were here, he would say, well, if Matthew Stafford gets hurt, they're not winning the Super Bowl anyway.
I disagree.
I do too. I think that they're so loaded now, particularly on both sides of the ball, that if you had a functional quarterback, a Jeff Hostetler type. Remember when Phil Simms went down, Jeff Hostetler stepped in, and the Giants didn't miss a beat and went on to win the Super Bowl. Tom Brady's first Super Bowl, he started that season as a backup.
What was the guy that came in for Drew Bledsoe when he got hurt? Yeah.
So I actually think that if you were willing to invest a little bit more money and a little bit more concern into your backup quarterback, it would be a smart move.
I guess my argument to Mace would be like, yeah, if you lost them for the year, maybe, but there's also scenarios where you lose a guy for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and that can affect your season and your road and whether you make the playoffs, John. So for me, I'm with you. It does not mean your season's over if you lose Matthew Stafford, who, by the way, was MVP. Yeah, of course, it hurts, but maybe it's just a patch for a couple of weeks. So I think the only guys who know inside that locker room with leadership in terms of Sean McVay, Snead, all those guys, like, do they believe in these young guys that they could do a job for a couple of weeks?
And
right?
Isn't it interesting that in a strange way, the Rams kind of mirror the Dodgers in a sense that the regular season is just a dress rehearsal.
Great point.
They are going to be judged by how they do in the postseason. Like Ken from Newport called and he said he gave all these stats about what's wrong with the Dodgers. Bottom line, Dodgers have the best record in baseball, and they've been devastated by injuries, and it doesn't matter. This is a dress rehearsal for what they're going to do in October. Aren't the Rams the same way?
Yes, you're right. And the preseason matters even less. And so I would assume we're not going to see a lot of Matthew Stafford in training camp. I think they're going to follow the thing that happened last year where he was in the cryogenic chamber or whatever with his back issues. But I think they're going to load manage Matthew in the training camp, We're going to see a lot of Stetson Bennett. We're going to see a lot of Ty Simpson, especially in the preseason. It might just be Stetson Bennett in the preseason. So but that's why Derek Carr would be so valuable in training camp. The Matthew can rest, Matthew can prep, and that Derek Carr takes over as this veteran presence that helps those young guys.
Listen, they were 3-3 down the stretch, the Rams, last year. And there are a couple of early losses. If you remember the one in Philadelphia, the one at home to the 49ers. I was at that game. They realistically could have been.
Kyron fumbled that game away on the 1-yard line.
They could have been undefeated.
In Philly, they couldn't. Their special teams bit them. They couldn't kick a field goal that would have won the game.
And by the way,
100%.
that was Kyron's only fumble last year.
Of course that loss
it was.
at Seattle with the play for the 2-point conversion, a complete disaster. My point being, like, that Rams team kind of fumbled it down the stretch where they could have had home field, but they still got to the NFC Championship game. My point, if they're right, John, heading into the playoffs in terms of health, doesn't matter where they play.
Yeah.
They could be in L.A. for the Super Bowl.
Well, it did
They'll
matter
be judged
last
on
year.
that. They'll be judged. It didn't, right?
No, it did matter. What
for sure in
space
the
they got,
NFC
because
Championship
if that game's in LA,
for sure.
the Seahawks probably don't get those
But
calls.
didn't they have to go to Carolina?
Yeah.
Right? They had to jump around to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, they can win on the road and still end up in L.A., but
it was pretty scary, though, to get there.
No, for sure. And I mean, that's sports, but I'm just saying, if they're right, they're going to be judged in the playoffs 100%.
All right, coming up next, we mentioned the home run